Hi there, good afternoon and welcome to today's Kingston Library Teen eBook review. I'm Fran and today the book I'm going to be reviewing is The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. It's a book I discovered like last year or the year before, and I really fell in love with it after reading another one of Lauren James's books called The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. I think it's a really interesting book and definitely a book that's apt for this day and age at the current moment. It's a science fiction book, but don't let that put you off. It's really not all high tech and stuff like that. It's if that's not really your thing, it's very much just it's set in the future, and it's about these just two characters who together have to find a way to save the world. I'll explain in a moment, but before that I just want to let you know it's on RB Digital as an audiobook, so you can access it over there. I'd say this book is probably suitable for the ages of 13, 14 and upwards. And as for the teen reading challenge, it does fit into a few of the categories. So it fits into number 5, which is a book with a blue cover, number 15, which is a book set in the future, and number 12, which is a book that has been shortlisted or won some awards, and it has won some awards, as it's quite an inventive and interesting book. The general plot of this book is it's about the Earth set about 100 years in the future after some sort of virus which has wiped out global fertility. Obviously very apt subject at the moment as being a virus, obviously. However, this book doesn't really deal with the effects of the virus so much as how it affected humanity and how much our humanity depends on other people, and how the world bands together in times of crisis. So I think that is more the message that you take away from this book. Yes, so essentially 100 years in the past, in the world of this book, a virus stopped human fertility gradually, and the two main characters in this book are the last two people to be born. They are the last sort of embryos that were saved. Essentially, like once this virus was discovered, lots of embryos that had been in storage were being prized and kept for future use, so that more generations can try and work out how to cure the virus. At the time of the book, that still hasn't happened yet. The two main characters are a young girl named Lowry and a young man named Shen, who are teenagers who are the youngest people on the planet. The rest of humanity are maybe a couple hundred more people who are all quite elderly, who now live together in London, and most of whom are scientists who are trying to frantically find a cure for the infertility, as they have more embryos, I think, but there's no way to raise them and no way to sort of incubate them and stuff like that. Lowry and Shen are two people who, while they understand their predicament, they try and get away from it all. They go mudlarking. They look for relics or items of the past, as the only people they know are all very elderly. They're their grandparents, and they generally view each other as the only friends they have, or that they will really ever have. And it's a very interesting story of how nature also has claimed the earth again. You know, the rest of the world is now completely overrun by nature. London itself is very unrecognisable from what we see today. It's very interesting, but I think part of the most interesting part of this book is how Lowry has discovered the social media pages of a woman, and just scrolls through them absently from hundreds of years ago, and she sees through this woman's eyes how this virus came about, the gradual effect it had on the human race at large, and you know, just gradually what happens through the next decades. And that is so interesting, as Lauren James does it in such a great way. She replicates a social media feed in a way that is really recognisable. And the characters that we see on these social media pages, the characters who we know are no longer around, but they're rendered so realistically. They could almost be real if this was a real story. These could easily be lifted straight from Facebook or another social media. as these people react to this news, and how they don't quite believe it's going to be a big deal at first, and then obviously it becomes a very important issue, and how they raise money, and how they experiment, and how they fight to beat this. And then of course how technology moves on. I won't give too much away, but a big thread of it is how once it became clear that this generation would not be able to have their own children, how they began to use technology in order to allow that to happen, with apps and with other technology as well, is very interesting. And I almost feel like if this really happened in real life, this would almost be what might happen in real life. I don't know. I'd love to discuss this with someone else who's read it. I'd love to see what they think. But I think Lauren James has done a great job of capturing what might actually happen if this happened in real life. So back to the present, and Larry and Shen, they discover a secret, something that kind of changes their existence, and they realise they have to do something in order to save the small community that's left. And they have sort of a race against time, and it becomes a bit of an adventure later on in the book. And I think it's just a great interesting story of friendship, of love, of humanity, even when there are two people left at the end of the world. I'll just read you the blurb. So here it is. How far would you go to save those you love? Lowry and Shen are the youngest people on the planet after a virus caused global infertility. Closeted in a pocket of London and doted upon by a small ageing community, the pair spend their days mudlarking and looking for treasure, until a secret is uncovered that threatens not only their family but their humanity's entire existence. Now Lowry and Shen must face an impossible choice. The quiet at the end of the world, they must decide what to sacrifice in order to save the whole human race. So yes, that is our book review for today, The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. I really hope you choose to listen to it, or reserve it as a physical book once we're open again. It's really, really interesting, but it really makes you think, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Bye.